On this edition of Early Look, I'm going to be previewing the bantamweight main event headlining UFC 316 between Merab Dvalishvili and Sean O'Malley. My name is James Lynch. If you've never watched the show before, I'm going to go through a bunch of different stats, and then I'm going to give you my prediction at the end of this video. I'm not an analytical guy, a guy that goes into the techniques and all that different stuff. This is just purely stats. Looking at the numbers, that's how I like predicting fights. So again, at the very end of this video, let me know in the comments which way you're leaning as far as a prediction in this fight. I kind of have a feeling where most people are going based off the odds, but curious to hear what your thoughts are on this fight anyways. Like we usually do on this show, let's do a quick tale of the tape between these two fighters. Merab Dvalishvili, 34 years old, 30 years old for O'Malley, 19-4 record to 18-2, 5'6" to 5'11", 68 to 72. So O'Malley going to be younger by about 4 years, and he's going to have a height and reach advantage in this spot. Of course, Merab getting the win over O'Malley and defeating the former bantamweight champion to claim the title. That was back at UFC 306. We'll talk about that fight in this video as well. But let's start first with the champ, Merab Dvalishvili, and everything you need to know about him. Again, this is the main event, so it will be 5 rounds. Going to be taking place at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. So Merab's got 3 knockouts, 1 submission, and 15 decisions in his career. He's 34 years old. He's 5'6" with a 68-inch reach. So no major advantages for Merab in terms of age, height, and reach or anything like that. Trains out of Serra-Longo, but mainly been at Syndicate MMA with John Wood the last little bit, last couple fights, I should say. He's got a black belt in judo. He's the current bantamweight champion. Made 1 title defense against Umar Nurmagomedov. He's got performance of the night 1 time against Marlon Moraes. He's got fight of the night 1 time against Ricky Simone. And he's got the most unanimous decision wins in UFC bantamweight division history at 10. Merab made his amateur debut way back in May of 2013, made his pro debut in January of 2014, did not make his UFC debut until December of 2017. He is 12-2 in the UFC. He's got 1 stoppage victory. Some notable wins include Marlon Moraes, Jose Aldo, Petr Yan, Henry Cejudo, Sean O'Malley, and most recently Umar Nurmagomedov. The only loss that's notable that he has is the Ricky Simone loss. Frankie Saenz, no offense to Frankie, but didn't have much of a career after beating Merab Dvalishvili back then. Merab hasn't had that many layoffs in his career. He's been fairly active. If you look at it here, very, very active, fighting 1-2 times a year. This will be his 2nd fight in 2025. The only major layoffs he's had going from Marlon Moraes and Jose Aldo, there was a 329-day layoff, and then going from Petr Yan to Henry Cejudo, there was a 343-day layoff. But since then, fought O'Malley in September, fought Umar, now he's going to fight O'Malley again here. So a lot of activity here from Merab Dvalishvili. Merab's never had any major injuries. He's had a couple close fights. I'll talk about a few of those. I mentioned that Frankie Saenz fight. If you go back and actually look at the media scorecards for that, and that's on MMADecisions.com. We can have a quick look there. You can see the majority of media members scored that fight for Merab Dvalishvili. A few scored it for Saenz, but mainly thought Merab won. Of course, the last O'Malley and Dvalishvili fight, some people felt like O'Malley, should have won that fight. There's still people who talk about that or think the fight was close. But if you look here on the media scorecards, not a single media member scored the fight for Sean O'Malley. It was all Merab Dvalishvili, 22 media members total. And then if we look at the last fight with Umar, that was fairly close. Again, thought maybe some people would score the fight for Umar because it was close. But not a single media member did that either. So 21 media members scoring the fight for Merab, not a single scoring it for Umar. If you go back and look at their first fight, that was at UFC 306. We got the stats up here. You look there, Merab scoring a lot more significant strikes, 82 compared to just 47 for O'Malley. Way more output too, 164. Part of that was Merab sort of taking control. And kind of how I scored this fight, and the stats back this up as well, is I had Merab winning 4 rounds to 1. The 5th round I gave to O'Malley. You can see there he did land more strikes, but not by much. Just 1 more strike than Merab, 11 out of 21. 10 of 26 here for Merab. So Merab actually missed more, but O'Malley landing on the mark a little bit better in this one. And you can see that, like I said, the strikes do favor Merab Dvalishvili in almost every round, even the headshots, body shots, all that. So again, I know there's some narrative out there that this was a close fight. I watched it. I didn't think it was close. I thought Merab clearly won, and I think the stats back that up as well. Okay, let's look at Merab's stats. For the UFC, you can see significant strikes landed per minute is 4.36. The striking accuracy is at 42%. His striking defense is at 56%, so he does get hit a little bit. Takedown average is 5.89. That's fairly high. His takedown accuracy is at 35%, and his takedown defense is at 82%. Although I doubt O'Malley's going to be taking this one to the ground. He's going to want to be keeping this standing. So that is everything you need to know about the current champion, bantamweight champion, Merab Dvalishvili. Let's talk now about Sean O'Malley, the former bantamweight champion. You can see their 18-2 record with 1 no contest. He's got 11 knockouts, 1 submission, and 5 decisions. He also has a no contest. He's 30 years old. He is 5'11" with a 72-inch reach. So he's 4 years younger, 5 inches taller, and will have a 4-inch reach advantage in this fight. He was the former champion, like I mentioned. He landed the most significant strikes landed in the UFC bantamweight title fight at 230 against Marlon Chito Vera. He's got fight of the night 3 times against Andre Sukumta, Chris Montinho, and Piotr Jan. He's got performance of the night 6 times. Not going to go through all those. And he's got the most post-fight bonuses in UFC bantamweight division history. So it's kind of a tale of 2 different styles, right? Like O'Malley's the one who gets all the bonuses. Merab doesn't. O'Malley made his amateur debut way back in March of 2013. Made his pro debut in March of 2015, made his UFC debut coming off Contender Series in December of 2017. So they actually made their debut around the same year, which is interesting. UFC debut, that is. O'Malley is 10-2 with 1 no contest in the UFC. He's got 6 stoppage victories. Some notable wins for O'Malley include Piotr Jan, Aljamain Sterling, and Marlon Chito Vera. Some notable losses include Marlon Chito Vera and Merab Dvalishvili. He's had a lot of layoffs in his career. Let's start with the first one, going from Andre Sukumta to Jose Quinones. There was a 735-day layoff going from Piotr Jan to Aljamain Sterling. There was a 301-day layoff, and then going into this fight, he'll have a 266-day layoff. Not a huge layoff going into this one. But still, he has been off for a little bit. One thing I forgot to mention about that first fight. So it was, I mean, this is an actual fact. O'Malley was dealing with an injury in the first fight. Not saying that's the reason he lost, but he did have a torn labrum, so much so that he had to get surgery after the fight. So we'll see if that makes a difference in the matchup. Just something I can't ignore when you're looking at the first fight. As far as close fights go for O'Malley, I already talked about the Merab one. I didn't think that was close. But on the O'Malley end, he had that fight with Piotr Jan, and I still get people in my mentions every now and then being like, what do you mean O'Malley has a win over Jan? Well, he does have a win over Jan, but if you look at the media scorecards for this, and I think most people would agree, one media member scored the fight for O'Malley, everyone else scored it for Jan. I don't know how many that is. It's probably like 20 something. So yeah, I think most people felt like O'Malley should have not got the nod on that card, but nonetheless, if you're Jan, you gotta maybe try and finish a Sean O'Malley. We'll see. So yeah, again, just want to give some context here because O'Malley, realistically could be 17-3 instead of, 16-3 instead of 17-2 in his career. Let's look at the stats here for Sean O'Malley and what he brings to the table here. Significant strikes landed per minute, 6.70, so that's very high. Striking accuracy is at 61%, very high as well. Striking defense at 60%, so his striking defense is actually higher than Merab's. Merab's at 56. His takedown average is 0.29, his takedown accuracy is at 42%, and his takedown defense is at 61%. He'll need it in this fight against Merab Dvalishvili. Let's go look at the odds right now. We do have some books that do have the odds right now. You'll see Merab about minus 285. Sean O'Malley comeback is like plus 230. Their first fight, it was the other way around. It was O'Malley being the favorite. If you look at it there, he was looks like O'Malley. Yeah, O'Malley, no, it was closer. So it looks like the line closed with O'Malley as the slight favorite at minus 125, Merab at minus 120. So the odds were closer there, here much wider. And Tapology tells a similar story. Again, this is where the fans can vote. You can see there 82% of fans picking Dvalishvili to win the fight, 18% picking O'Malley, and they're picking Merab, 95.9% picking him by decision. So don't think it's going to be a huge shock to anyone. Again, I've done videos on this fight leading up. I think Merab wins the decision here. I think that's most likely the way he wins. 79% of Merab's wins do come by decision. That's 15 total in his career. He's not much of a finisher. Wasn't able to finish O'Malley in the first fight where he had an injury going in. I doubt he finishes him this time. I basically, if you're picking O'Malley here, you're thinking he's going to knock out Merab, and it's certainly possible. I'm not going to sit here and say that Sean O'Malley can't win this fight. He absolutely can. If he hits the button, he could knock out Merab. Again, you go look at that Marlon Moraes fight a number of fights ago. Marlon did hurt Merab in that fight. He was able to recover and still get the win. That's why I think it's going to be very tough. Like, even if O'Malley hits Merab, his recovery is amazing and his cardio is amazing too. I mean, that's what happened in the Umar fight. Merab just had better cardio and was able to outpace his opponent and end up winning in the later, ends up taking those later rounds as well. So that's the thing. Like, to me, Merab can just wrestle and take him down and do that. We know he's got the cardio edge and everywhere else. So I think that's going to be a huge factor. The other thing is O'Malley is pretty durable. He's only been finished the one time in the Chito Vera fight, and that was more of an injury. You got to give Merab his flowers. That fight against Umar, a lot of people thought that Umar was going to win that fight. Merab won. I think that's a huge win. I think that's a better win than beating O'Malley, in my opinion. Obviously, O'Malley and Umar are different opponents, but Umar's really talented, and for Merab to beat him, I thought that was very good. Here's the other thing, and this is part of the reason why I did that video when this fight fight was announced. The pressure's on O'Malley here. If he loses, he's in a really, really, really tough spot here. He's going to be in like that spot that Max Holloway was in for a while when Volk beat him, and Robert Whittaker with Adesanya, that type of thing. Where if you lose 2 fights to the champ, it's going to be pretty tough to get back on top. So yeah, a lot of pressure here on O'Malley to win this fight. I'd say more than Merab. Again, O'Malley's the draw. He's the big name, all that stuff. That's part of the reason he's getting this fight. It's not good for business if you're losing back-to-back fights here. So I think there's a ton of pressure on O'Malley. I don't think Merab has nearly as much. And then sort of the obvious thing here, Merab's already beat him. That's already embedded in his head. He's already got that mental edge of knowing that he's beat O'Malley and he could probably beat him again. So I just think there's too many advantages here for Merab Dvalishvili in this fight. Again, could O'Malley knock him out? Yes, but I think that's less likely than Merab just out wrestling him and winning a decision here. So again, I don't think I'm saying anything groundbreaking here. You saw it on Tapology there. I think most people are picking Merab by decision, and that's the way I'm leaning too. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. What is your prediction for this fight? Is anyone going with O'Malley? And if you are, I'm assuming you're going O'Malley by knockout. Anyone taking O'Malley by decision? I'll give you full marks if that happens. I really don't see that being the method of victory that O'Malley wins. I think it's more likely by knockout if O'Malley does win, but we'll see. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. If there's any other fights you want me to preview that are coming up here pretty soon that are non-title fights, obviously I'm going to do all the main events and the title fights. Let me know in the comments. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.